New evidence today that organized crime may be finding new dirty business to get into and far from big city home base. CBS News correspondent Harold Dow has been investigating one frightening case in point, the mob and hazardous waste dumping.
Whether it's construction debris, medical waste, or industrial toxins, America is running out of room to dump its garbage. With dumps so scarce and profits so high, the waste disposal crisis has become a magnet for the mob.
It's perfect. It has all of the elements that provide a fertile ground for organized crime or other criminal groups.
Illegal dumps can pop up anywhere. Rural and peaceful towns are prime targets. It happened here in Tuxedo, New York, where toxic waste and small-town corruption opened the door for big-time profits and murder. Authorities say the murder victim was Robert Maloney, a dump manager. They say he was shot in the head and then buried in this landfill. They suspect he knew too much about his boss, Frank Sacco, a convicted felon and the operator of another dump in Tuxedo. When Sacco came to town, he bribed the police chief, a state inspector, and went into business with the town justice, all to protect the dump where he allegedly made millions of dollars in just 6 months. It was supposed to be for construction and demolition debris only, but much more than that was dumped here.
Other kinds of material that had toxic chemicals, petrochemicals were found in there, toxins, carcinogens.
It was a horror for quite a while. Your eyes would be watering, your throat burning, and your nose burned.
Chuck Gullidge lives just across the street.
In the early morning hours, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, when the dew was on the ground, the smell seemed to lay and just creep into everything.
The smell also crept into the restaurant across the street. Owner Frank Moan tried to complain, but nobody listened.
Did you go to the justice, town justice, and say, hey, this is...
It was his property.
It was the justice's property?
It was the justice's property.
Small town.
Small town.
Renard Barone was the town justice. He was convicted of perjury and tax evasion. Convicted after the jury heard him confess in a secretly taped prison conversation with Sacco.
I got 2 kids in the service, Frank. I know it, Ray. Good God Almighty, still have me gone. How, Ray? I perjured myself before the threat of a grand jury.
Sandy White, the state environmental inspector, has pleaded guilty to tax evasion after taking bribes from Sacco. Sam Mottola, police chief in Tuxedo for 25 years, pleaded guilty to tax evasion and perjury. In court today, Sacco was sentenced to 6 2/3 years in prison for racketeering, mail fraud, wire fraud, bribery, and money laundering. Sacco still faces other serious charges, including murder. In Tuxedo, more indictments are expected, and residents are still trying to figure out how it all happened.
And it's like a soap opera. It really is a continuing story.
Was it greed?
Certainly. This place looks green, but there's nothing green like money, and money is very persuasive.
This was a rape of us. That's what it was. It's something that nobody ever expected.
No one knows yet what future health problems this dump site will pose, or how many toxic chemicals will leach into the river that provides drinking water for 500,000 people downstream. What authorities do know is that what happened to Tuxedo can happen to any small town in America. Harold Dow, CBS News, Tuxedo, New York.